Because the UCAT is more important than ever this year, I've been going really deep on all of the learning theory, accelerated learning, and all the tricks and tips that people can do to really get very good at something in a short amount of time. So in this video, what we're going to talk about is the underlying principles, and then I'm going to go through some individual techniques and frameworks that you can use and apply them to your UCAT to not only do really well, but do it in record time. So the term hacking is a little bit of a misnomer because what I'm actually going to show you here are the fundamentals of accelerated learning and something that you can apply to anything. Currently, I am trying to learn Arabic and I'm going to do it in under 3 weeks, and I'll show you in this video when I've finished exactly how it turned out and just how much progress you can make in that time. Now, to go through this whole deconstruction project, I have gone through many books. One of the best ones being The 4-Hour Chef by Tim Ferriss. And here I will read you a direct quote from him where he says, "It is possible to become world class," and he defines world class as the top 5% in just about anything in 6 months or less. Armed with the right framework, you can seemingly perform miracles, whether Spanish, swimming, or anything in between. Now that is where we want to aim, in the top 5%, but I can guarantee you will do it in less than 6 months because, like I say, I will show you exactly how to deconstruct this UCAT to make sure you increase your speed and increase your performance very rapidly and achieve a high level in record time. Now, before we dive into the specific frameworks that are going to help you score highly in the UCAT, I'm just going to go over some principles that you need to understand from a 30,000-foot view before you go into the weeds and get into the nitty-gritty. The first concept is the distinction between being the best and becoming the best. I'm really interested in those people in the Future Doc program who came to us because they didn't do well in the UCAT the year before, and we've taken their score from a 2,300, way below average, to a 3,000 plus. What did we do differently? It's understanding not those people who are naturally great at it, who are always going to perform well, but the people that we trained and changed the method and what we did differently to take them from a relatively low score to an incredibly high score. Another massively important concept is that what you study is way more important than how you study, which means that you need a very reliable resource. It's so important to have a great foundational resource to teach you the basics. You can check out our UCAT online course, which I can guarantee you will give you that foundation in a really solid way, but it's just understanding that the material beats the method, because that leads on nicely to another really important concept, is to think of the principles first. So before you even go into the UCAT, you need to understand what it is you're trying to achieve, what the basics of how you perform in each section are before you go and learn the individual techniques. Because one of the key things you need to understand when you're studying anything is the idea of effectiveness versus efficiency. Effectiveness is doing the right things and efficiency is doing them well. If you do things very efficiently but are working on the wrong things, that is a complete waste of time. So 2 questions I want you to ask yourself whenever you're designing a study program or you're in the middle of studying is the method effective and is it sustainable? Because one really effective way to study that you need to adopt if you're going to do well in any skill is that of deliberate practice. This is something I've taken from Cal Newport's book called So Good They Can't Ignore You, and he talks about the phenomenon of deliberate practice. And he says basically the formula for getting good at anything via deliberate practice is stretching, so pushing yourself when you practice to just go that little bit beyond your comfort zone, plus feedback. And the feedback is essentially either getting somebody or having some sort of review or feedback mechanism to go into those things that you've stretched yourself in and to improve them and make sure that they're correct. So that system has the acceptance that when you are stretching yourself and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, it's understood that you won't get things right. So then there's a feedback loop mechanism in place to make sure that you fill in the holes and close all of those gaps so that then your baseline is even higher. So the next time you stretch, you're pushing your comfort zone to the next level, and it's a continuous cycle like that. That brings us nicely onto another really important book called Mindset by Caroline Dweck, where she talks about the importance of embracing failure and having resilience when you are learning something. The takeaway from that is that we need to develop UCAT resilience, if you want to call it that, and it's a healthy attitude to failure and growth as we go through this process. I'm sure you're aware of the Dunning-Kruger effect, that roller coaster of confidence and depression that you go on as you learn something, and you go up and down as things get more complicated or you become more aware of just how much there is to learn. It's as you go through that cycle of unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence to conscious competence, where you are very much aware of what you know and it's kind of you're having to put effort and thought into it, to that unconscious competence, where suddenly things are happening naturally and you're not really thinking about them and you're doing them automatically. Because another amazing graph that I'm going to show you now will give you confidence when the chips are stacked against you. In Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about that thing of you're working, and people expect linear progression, but it doesn't work like that. You have to load the bases and put the work in so that you have a quantum leap in your abilities. And that's exactly how it goes with the UCAT. Josh Waitzkin, in his incredible book where he becomes a chess world champion, The Art of Learning, talks about this. He calls it investing in failure, because he goes from a world chess champion to becoming a Tai Chi, the fighting push hands version of Tai Chi, a world champion in that. And he calls it investing in failure. Basically, he does lots of rounds with people who are way better than him. He knows he's going to get beat up, but he's going to learn so much from the losses that at that time, while he's learning so much, he will take those losses on the chin in the interest of becoming better in the long run. Now, as promised, I'm going to show you some frameworks now that are going to help you nail your UCAT. The first one is the primary framework. So that is going to form your main road back to success. And then the second one is like a supplementary one that's going to help this main path. And at the end, I'm going to talk about some cheat sheets that you can use that are going to give you the fundamentals, but also remind you of the fundamentals regularly so that they keep you on course throughout this entire journey. So the first framework I'm going to show you, taken directly from Tim Ferriss, is called DS3. That stands for deconstruction, selection, sequencing, and stakes. And I'll go through all of those now. So for the deconstruction, what are the minimal learnable units that you need to understand? So basically, what are the Lego blocks that form the foundations? So the very first thing is to reduce things down to their core components. Part of deconstruction can also be to interview people who have done well before and understand what they explicitly tell you, but also what they implicitly have that maybe they don't even know they're doing. It's that unconscious competence that we're talking about. So what I do is always interview our previous students who did absolutely amazing to understand and kind of distill that to the core components of what they did to score highly, and I pass that on to my students. Another deconstruction component is reversal. Can you do the opposite of what people did? For example, with the UCAT, sometimes people think that they just need to work on their weakest areas, but actually, if your weakest area is good enough and you've only got, let's say, an hour to spend, is an hour spent better on improving the one that you're not doing so well in and maybe improving it by 10 points, or doubling down on the one that you're good at and improving by 30 points. If that contributes to an overall score and that's what you need for your individual circumstances, maybe that's a better time investment. So right now on the Future Doc program, I am working on doing exactly this and creating a playbook for taking all of these concepts and putting them into a very strong formula to help our students get the UCAT score that they need. So now that we've deconstructed the subject into blocks, then we go on to selecting which blocks we should focus on. This is where we apply the 80-20 principle. So which 20% of blocks are going to give us 80% of the result. In fact, if you answer all of the questions across the course of the UCAT with 72% accuracy, that is enough to give you a 3,000 plus score. So what we're working on is identifying the key principles, the key techniques, what an optimal practice session looks like in terms of questions to attempt, what intensity and how much to review. So then we go on from selection to sequencing. So in what order should I do things? Now with the UCAT, it's clear you need to understand the core principles, put them into practice with questions, increase the speed. Then from your mistakes, like I was saying before, with that deliberate practice, it's all about stretching yourself, i.e. increasing the speed, then getting feedback and going and reviewing everything to then go back and fill in the gaps. And as I was saying, with language learning, it's exactly the same thing. Learn some stuff, practice some stuff, identify where you've got some holes and then fill in the gaps, and then keep going in that circle. And then the final S is stakes. So basically, how can I put myself on the line? Now, I would argue that when you're applying to medicine and dentistry with something like the UCAT, the stakes are very clear and you should really be self-motivated to do well on this. But you can set up stakes like making sure that you practice. There are great online websites like Commit Action or Stick with 2 Ks, where you can pay a small amount and basically have them be your accountability coach to make sure that you stay on top of things. Another way that you could replicate that is to give money to friends or family and say you give them £20 and every time you attempt 100 questions, they will give you £1 back. Okay, so that is this DS3, our core framework. Now I'm going to show you the supplementary framework that is going to help with all of this and how we kind of put it more visually to help us stay on track. Now the second framework is called CFE, CAFE let's call it, and that stands for compression, frequency and encoding. And here is actually where we're going to form cheat sheets and practice schedules that are going to really keep us focused. So for the first one, compression, we want to ask ourselves, can we compress that 20% of what we deemed as the most effective material onto a one-pager, somewhere that we can make a poster or a PDF or something that we can have on our screensaver that's going to remind us of the core principles that are going to keep us on track and help us get that 80%. Because the most important thing is to always remind yourself to continually simplify and just remember the fundamentals. That's why at FutureDoc for this, we've made a one-pager that gives you all of the principles for abstract reasoning, verbal reasoning, situational judgment, decision making and quantitative reasoning, that really, if you just remember these core principles or these core equations or these core rules, that will get you most of the way there. And that's why we made that page, so that students can remember it and see it every day to stay on track and stay reminded of the important things to focus on. So that's a principles one-pager. The second thing I'd recommend that you do is make yourself a practice one-pager. So for example, for our students, we made a 10 commandments of what you should always do and keeping people focused on the prize and what's the most important thing. For example, our first commandment is that speed and accuracy is the most important thing. So many people forget the speed element of the UCAT. The number one reason for people not doing well is because they don't finish the exam. So we have to, while we're practicing, keep that speed element at the front of mind so that we make sure that we do complete the exam and give ourselves a better chance of scoring highly. If you want to try and go through not only our UCAT process, but our whole program where we optimize your medical or dental school application to get you into your first choice university, you can check out the FutureDoc program here and see what we're all about for how we help you one-on-one through the entire journey. So back to the next item in our CAFE framework, which is frequency. We need to understand how often we need to practice. What does a practice schedule look like? What is it structured of? And we need to be consistent with that so that we're doing the same and replicating it every time to make sure we get those fundamentals in. So that will mean not just understanding theory, putting that theory into practice and actually attempting questions, but also the most important thing is review, understanding where we went right so we can get feedback on the techniques that we're using and see whether they're working. And then we have the final E, which will be so useful for medical and dental school, is encoding. So how do I anchor that new material into something that I already know for quick recall? So these are memory techniques. So for example, mnemonics, acronyms, acrostics, heuristics, chunking, these are all techniques. If you want to get more advanced, you can use things like the major system or a memory palace. For example, in the UCAT, we use the mnemonic of Spartan IBS for the abstract reasoning, which you can check out a video on here. But if you want to go a little bit deeper with this memory stuff and how you can apply this to other subjects, you can check out this video that I'm going to make soon here for teaching you how to learn anatomy. But if you would like some specific help one-on-one with the UCAT, I recommend that you check out this video here and see just how successful the FutureDoc program has been and can be for you to get you into your dream university. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you over in that video.